Greetings, I'm Frederick Riddle with another episode of Christian News and Views. This is episode 26, 106, and this is Monday. And the title of this episode is Putin Embarrassed. An article came out that I found very interesting, and so I'm going to read it to you, then I'll comment. The Ukrainian Defense Forces, or ZSU, and the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, have commemorated the 82nd anniversary of the historic World War II Allied 6 June 1944 D-Day invasion of occupied France by striking a Russian Navy, VMF, arsenal in the settlement of Velika Azhora in the Leningrad region. This location is roughly 31 miles southwest of Russian President Vladimir Putin's hometown of St. Petersburg. The successful attack was first reported by the dossier translated the spy's dossier Telegram channel, not long after it occurred. According to information at the time, the attack on military unit 55443-LI was conducted with a strike package of 40 long-range drones, 8 of which reported to have reached the target. This arsenal is one of the major ammunition depots of the VMS Baltic Fleet. The attack took place on the last day of Putin's St. Petersburg 3 to 6 June International Economic Forum, a vanity project that the former KGB lieutenant colonel has unilaterally declared to be the Russian Davos. This is in reference to the famous annual Swiss Economic Forum that attracts most of the world's business and finance industry luminaries. Ukraine has made a point of hitting targets in the region of Russia's second city for the purpose of embarrassing the Kremlin, a point not gone unnoticed by the world's media. Putin's annual cash grab gets off to a humiliating start, read the headline posted by the U.S. outlet Daily Beast. A plume of black smoke. The BBC's Steve Rosenberg, the dean of the Moscow Press Corps, reported how Ukraine's drone army was the real star of the St. Petersburg event this year. Ukrainian drones attacked the St. Petersburg area on the opening and closing days of the Set Piece International Economic Forum, SPIEF. He writes, the abiding image of SPIEF 2026 will be the huge plume of thick black smoke which dominated the St. Petersburg skyline on Wednesday. Without specifying what was hit, local officials admitted that drones had damaged infrastructure. All the delegates saw the smoke as they arrived at the expo center and the edge of the city, on the edge of the city. As Rosenberg and many others now are concluding inside the hall of this event, Putin could still present the veneer of a strong and capable leader. But this attempt at buttressing his image is contradicted by what is happening outside. Namely, the series of attacks on his birthplace by a Ukrainian army that now launches those strikes with impunity from over 1,000 miles away. These drone strikes and the war in general are also inflicting irreparable damage on more than just Putin's image. Reporters asking questions of the Russian participants during the forum and the sidebar encounters have elicited some unhappy answers. While no one of high enough status within the Russian political ecosphere was willing to be quoted by name, certain phrases and descriptions were used more than once by different personages. The military spending burden and destroyed ammunition runaway military spending has caused economic growth to stall or even begin to shrink across most sectors of the economy. Within the last 10 days, Russia's finance minister has submitted an official letter that raises red flags about the current and future hardships to be visited on Russia due to the cost of the war. The letter was reportedly seen by the Reuters news agency, prompting a U.S. former intelligence official now in retirement to point out that what no one has explained is how such a letter and its context were leaked to a Western news outlet. That's a new and unheard of act of dissident activity in Putin's Russia. This is why Russian economists now speak of stagnation and in some areas decline of the nation's situation. They express growing concern that the war in Ukraine is consuming vast amounts of resources, both in personnel and finances. Adding to those military spending woes is the 6th June strike on Velka Izhora. The Ukrainian drones that evaded Russia's air defense hit the facility's above ground hangar type storage facilities and immediately set off the detonation of stored ammunition in these buildings. Putin's military is now reported to have lost approximately 5,000 tons of material, mainly artillery shells and ammunition of various calibers, plus engineering munitions. All this will have to be replaced at a time when Russia is unable to produce enough of its own ammunition and has been forced to source it from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, and elsewhere. The average logistics officer looking at this incident is now asking how the Russians could have been so complacent, if not stupid, as to store this ammunition in vulnerable buildings rather than in hardened subterranean bunkers. The answer is partly due to the never-ending arrogance of Moscow's military planners, who inexplicably believe that this facility is unreachable by Ukraine's drone army. The arsenal was designed as a fortified complex with underground infrastructure, and during the Soviet period, served as a key node in the Baltic Fleet's ammunition storage system. Another is that the facility is described as a Soviet-era throwback that was being dismantled. The Ukrainian open-source intelligence site, Dnipro OSINT, later published satellite imagery after the attack showing the signs of detonation across an area of 50,000 square meters. Now, aside from a few words there that I was tripping over, this is a very interesting, and I personally find it pleasing. Anytime Putin is embarrassed, I am happy. But this goes beyond his personal embarrassment. This is an example of how drone warfare has changed the battlefront. Both nations are involved in the drone warfare. Both have had successes. But I think I've reported on this in a previous podcast. I would say if this was a game, it's not. But if it was, you would have to give the Ukrainians a double-digit lead. I don't think I ever said it that way, but that's how I'm thinking now. They are so good at this, and it is so cheap to manufacture these drones. It's barely impacting their budget. You have cheap, easily manufactured drones destroying high-value ammunition supplies and more. Then get this, they give the statistic themselves. 8 out of 40 drones got through. Now, 8 out of 40, what's that, 1/5? That's only 20% got through. But they caused exceedingly great destruction in wake of their attack. 8 out of 40 got through and struck these supplies. Put another way, for nickels, the Ukrainians have destroyed munitions that might be valued in the thousands or millions. This is more than an embarrassment. This is defeat. To me, this is Putin watching as his enchanting kingdom goes down in flames. Instead of the world watching in rapture, and I'm referring primarily to the meeting he was having, they are watching in awe as the pillars of his dream are crumbling. I think he is right about one thing. The war may well be close to ending. What do you think? And that's something I'm really curious about. What you think? The this this past year, I think Ukraine's attacks against Russia have been far more newsworthy, far more dominating in the news media than Russia's attacks against Putin, against Russia, against Ukraine. Excuse me. Um, is it? I'm wondering if this is a sign of their a crumbling within, gaining speed. Sometimes that happens in war. One side, it's a real close stalemate, back and forth, and then all of a sudden one just collapses. Same thing in sports. In football, you might have two teams, they fight until the half. And then when they come out from halftime, one falls flat, and the other one takes off. I've also seen like 3/4 of a football game being seesaw. And maybe one team, this one over here, actually has a small lead. All of a sudden, in the fourth quarter, this team over here gets hot and they end up winning. And so, strategic wise and stuff like that, I think that Russia may be having some problems that we are getting hints at. I mean, all these losses they're suffering in thousands, hundreds of thousands, or maybe even millions of dollars worth, that they don't have the ability to replace, not immediately. And they are, unlike Ukraine, who came from very low and has had to build up. Russia was up here and has been going down. They're going down in all areas, including manpower. When the war started, the manpower was all theirs. Now they're importing people. You come here, you die on our field, and we'll take care of your family. That seems to be their best offer. The I don't know that that's really reaching into the mercenary fields. Yes, people who will go to fight, they love to fight, they want to fight, and to do it for money is even more better for them. But the common foot soldier is a little bit different. They have fled. Some of them have fled the Russia simply because they didn't want to be drafted. Well, now there's been reports that they're thinking about doing the draft again, and was kind of wonder what's going to happen there too, because people are dying. It's like a buzzsaw, and they were originally they were getting inch after inch after inch. But now Ukraine seems to be getting it back, pushing back. They've stopped Russia, and I think they've regained some territory. And so that doesn't look good for Russia either. So they're losing on so many different grounds. It's you have to wonder how much longer they can last before they have a total collapse. And I can't help but think, are we beginning to see the beginnings of that collapse? Their economy is in shambles. Their military is now shown to be a paper tiger, but now it's even poor quality paper. And the military seems to be collapsing. Putin is sitting on what we in the United States we often call bubbles, like economic bubbles, energy bubbles, stuff like that. Well, I'm not sure what you call his bubble. Military bubble, but it's more than that. Political bubble, I think it's more than that. I think he looks sitting on a life and death. At one point, he thought this bubble and this dream of his is to be the leader of a nation that is recognized around the world as the greatest. He wants to restore the Soviet Union even to heights that it actually never reached. And yet what he's having to do is watch it as all his dreams are going down in flames. I was going to say I almost feel I also feel pity for him, but really I don't. Um, he brought all this on himself, and he's brought it on the Russian people. But even there, you question how much we should feel sorry for them, because they eat this. I think some of them at least suspected the truth, but they ate up the lies because it made them feel good and proud and so forth. So it's hard to find a whole lot of sympathy for the Russian people. Now, there are Russians there who are opposed to the war, opposed to Putin, and they're suffering right alongside everybody else. And so those people, I do have concern for. I do feel compassionate about. But the Russian people are going to. This is. I think it's going to come down to the Russian people taking measures. Um, and it may be his own KGB, whatever it's called today, uh, might rebel against him. Uh, there's only so much they can digest, only so much they can tolerate. And there are some very important, powerful people in Russia uh, who Putin has well, so far failed to get rid of. But at the same time, they failed to unseat him. Uh, but what's going on now. I'm going to give them added fuel and added energy. It might just empower their efforts. Will that mean that Russia will become a peaceful nation? I doubt it. Their current war will come to a close. I'm sure of that. But then they'll shift their vision. Eventually, that division is going to shift to the south, area called Israel. And I think that's going to happen. And it could happen in my lifetime, or either before the rapture or shortly thereafter. Um, we don't know when the invasion is going to take place. Right now, Israel is not an unwalled city. It's not a city at peace. But if somebody goes come on the line, say in the United Nations, and say, "I guarantee this and I guarantee," and they can back it up, that would probably be the Antichrist, and Israel will buy into it for about 3.5 years, and then he will get too proud, and he will. Apparently, the temple is going to be rebuilt in that time. It's totally reasonable to expect it to be rebuilt within 3.5 years. And so the implication is that he's going to be part of the opening up of the temple, the grand reopening, you call it that. And when he does, he's going to go in and pollute it. Does that mean he's going to offer a pig? That's what many people believe. So that would be horrible for the Jews. And so he's going to go in and pollute it, and maybe even claim that he himself is God. But I don't. That's all. I won't be here for that. Neither will you. If you're saved, if you know Jesus Christ, your Savior, you won't be here for the tribulation period. But at the same time, we'll be able. I'm hoping they have a widescreen TV up there in heaven, and so we can watch. But anyhow, all jokes aside, the war in Ukraine is not going Putin's way, and that does make it sound. That's good news to me, and good news to a lot of people. Well, you have a great day, and I hope I've at least informed you, encouraged you, maybe even inspired you. This is brought to you, sponsored by TNR Independent Books, a Christian indie publisher. We are interested in publishing your books. And so if you're a Christian and you desire to be a published author, but you don't know how to write, we have a writing course called Basic Authors Training. If you know how to write, and maybe you've already written your manuscript or it's almost fully written, and you need a publisher, again, Ministry Publishing in this case is for you. Both are available. Just simply go to trbookservices.com. You go there, go to the bookstore, and in the bookstore, go to our department called Writing. And there you'll find the different services. And it won't cost you anything to check it out further. You just click on there, there'll be a form that you fill out, you apply for it, and that doesn't commit you to anything. And you don't spend anything, doesn't commit you to anything. You are simply reaching out and wanting to take the course or get the publishing. So you're indicating an interest in that. I look at it and I say, okay, this looks like a good fit. And I send an email back to you with links that you can use to go purchase either full price or subscription. Plus, you get a coupon with significant savings. And so that's all it does. And until you go to that checkout and click and pay for it, it doesn't cost you a cent. So go check it out. Find out if we are a fit for you. If we are, then if we've gotten you that far to the point you got that congratulations letter, then you know all you got to do now is just go in and purchase whatever you're going to purchase. I look forward to seeing you, and you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode.